Good morning. It's another Saturday morning, and this is your trusted source for in-depth news analysis. This is where we dissect the week's top stories, examine the issues that shape our nation, and bring you expert insights to shape your perspective. Join us as we navigate the complexities of our world and our nation. This is a nation united in grief. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? They left their homes full of life, telling their spouses and families and children, I am off to work. See you and the children later. Yet they returned in body bags, some difficult to identify, others unrecognizable. August 6th will forever be etched in memory as the day a military Z-9 helicopter crashed, claiming the lives of 2 ministers of state and 6 others. The dignitaries were en route to Obuasi to launch a crucial program aimed at tackling illegal mining, galamsey as we call it. The 3 days of national mourning ends today. And as you can see, I'm in black mourning. But the question still remains, will this tragedy open a new chapter in the fight against galamsey? Meanwhile, government has also announced a 62.58 percent price hike in cocoa pricing. Would this be a game changer for farmers? The government's bold move to increase the producer price may bring much needed relief. But will it truly benefit the cocoa sector in the long run? And also in the media, and talking about consumers, the National Communication Authority on that same 7th gave MultiChoice DSTV Ghana a 30-day ultimatum to reduce its subscription charges in line with the cedi's appreciation against the dollar, failing which the company risk license suspension. Will MultiChoice comply, or would they cease operations? This and many more we will discuss today. But as we reflect over the news we heard, as we reflect over the accident, as we reflect over the complexities of the week, we would want to look at how this news came to us, how the state announced it, how the president communicated it to us. How did we get to know as a people?
To announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash. Dr. Edward Kofi Omaneboama, Minister for Defense. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Mutala Muhammad, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Lemonad, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Mr. Samuel Abuaji, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Addo Mensah. And government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service.
And on behalf of the government and the people of Ghana, I extend my deepest condolences to their families, friends, and their loved ones. Know that our entire country mourns with you. We share your pain. Your loss is our loss. A loss of dedicated public servants, intellectuals, and individuals who tirelessly work for a better Ghana. These 8 individuals dedicated their unwavering commitment. We have lost heartbreak. a time to reflect on the preciousness of life, the sacrifices of public service, and our gratitude for those who dedicate themselves to the well-being of our fellow citizens. On Saturday, 9th August at 5 p.m., the nation will gather at the forecourt of the State House for an evening of reflection and memorial in honor of our departed colleagues. Books of condolences will be opened simultaneously at the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, the Ministry of Foreign NADMO, from Sunday, 10th August to Thursday, 14th August. On Friday, 15th August, an interdenominational state funeral will be held for the 8 heroes at the Black Star Square. My brothers and sisters, my fellow countrymen and women, may God bless their souls, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, made of gold. And when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, made of gold. And when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. People like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold. And when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, walk around with your heart on your sleeve. And if you're trying to be the change you want to see, someone could be saved. There's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold. And when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. There's a place up there for people like you. I know you're out there, so keep doing what you do. 'Cause there's a place up there for people like you.
It's a heavy mood. It's a sad morning. The week has been tough for those of us who know any of these 8 closely, for those of us who relate to them beyond the political level, for those the other day. This is a heavy morning. This is a morning that we all wish we would wake up from and call it a dream. But such is life. I remember last week, Saturday, around the same time when we sat in this studio and we were discussing the life of Charles Kofi. And some members here, or some of the panel members actually even left for the funeral service of, I think, Ambassador Samyali. The previous day, they had gone for that for Adekoka. And some of these people we are remembering today were seen laying their wreath, following leadership to pay their last respect. Little did they know, and did we know, that for some of us, seeing them on TV that day, seeing them on social media that day, will probably be the last time we'd see them live. That from that moment, anytime we refer to them, we refer to them in the past. It's a heavy morning, and we here at the Ghana Broadcasting Company join with the families of all 8, and by extension, the 16 children that had died earlier, and tell them that God be with us. And as a nation, we join the president and the party, the National Democratic Congress, to also mourn. And as the president had declared, today being the last of the 3 days, we here would discuss. Some very close friends, some were in parliament or are in parliament with some of them, and they will share their fond memories. Well, in studio with me this morning, to my extreme end or opposite me, is my brother, Emmanuel Kotin. He's an executive director for Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. Mr. Kotin, we danced to Lumba Saturday, right about the same time. And we were remembering his memory.
It's a heavy period.
You were telling me the songs, the ones that have changed your life.
Yeah.
Little did we know that we're going to come here another Saturday, to discuss again,
Yeah.
another national tragedy.
Yes.
Anyway, next to Emmanuel Kotin is Dr. Dickson Adomako Kissi. He's a former MP for Anyaa, Sowutuom. Doc.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I hope you're well. I know it's difficult.
I'm well. I had to muster courage to come.
I mean, considering that you have been, I think you were in parliament with Mutala, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And we'll get into it, but
right.
it's tough.
It is.
It is tough.
So next to Doc is Kofi Kapito. He's the Chief Executive Officer for the Consumer Protection Agency. Good morning, boss.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Holding it.
Yeah.
You know, like they say, this one too will pass.
Yes. Yes, it's a memory we don't want to hold on to for long because it's difficult. It's difficult. Well, To my immediate left is Wilberforce Amoako. He's an aviation expert. I mean, there's no way we can have this discussion about this crash without having an aviation expert to speak to. Not one to try and justify or go into details, because we know there's an ongoing investigation, but from his expert point of view, to be able to give us a fair idea or understanding how all this works. When the plane is taking off, how does it work? What are some of the checks they do and all those things? So we'll try and educate ourselves. I mean, a lot of us, when we sit in the plane and the cabin crew come and they are discussing how to put on the safety and all those things, some of us even just ignore them. I'm sure this morning we'll speak to William, and then he would give us some more insight. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Right, and welcome to the set.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I'll start with Doc. Like I mentioned, when this news first came to you, when you heard this, I mean, it started coming as a rumor, and typical of Ghana, people are announced dead even before the real confirmation comes. There are people who have died a number of times, only for us to realize that they had not died. When it came to you the first time, what was the reaction? How did you go through to confirm that it's true? And when you confirmed, what was the feeling?
I think the first name I heard was Omanebwama. That for me was I just couldn't understand it. Very difficult to take in. Let me admit here that I'm a co-man, and we've had engagements because of our background. Then another name popped up. I was like, what's this? Muntake's name was coming up, which later we understand his name was on the manifest, but got changed last minute to Mutala. And that, for me, I mean, was a shock. I couldn't process it. And let me admit here that I thought it wouldn't get to me, but the next day, then I realized the weight of all that had happened. And in fact, we've shared so many engagements with him. I mean, I was on Public Accounts Committee with him. So we toured this country many times. And as I said on another station, he introduced me to somebody that does smoke and things for the two of us. And when I get to Tamale, I mean, that's his area. So we ride in his vehicle, and he shows me around, you know, tells me where Fuseni, his former MP lived, Innocent Fuseni. And I mean, showed me this castle with many gunshots based on some rivalry within the chieftaincy domain. And oh my goodness, untimely. This is certainly untimely, not in my frame of things that I was anticipating at all this year. And in fact, we're all hit. Fantastic guy. And with him, I mean, it's a painful one. And it's not an NDC loss here, not at all. This is a very fantastic guy, and he says it as it is. I mean, sometimes I'll beg him on set to just keep some things behind the scenes, but Mutala will blurt it out. He'll tell you, and he'll say, oh, I'm not afraid, you know, and he'll say it. And that is one thing I'll remember of him. Very fine, fantastic gentleman. And when he was doing his PhD, I was amazed and admired how he took it upon himself to do this, you know, advanced degree with all the hassles of being an MP. And I mean, only to finish, and he didn't even get 6 months after graduation. And this is quite an unfortunate thing. So all I can say is that we're with the family, and I know they would bear a huge burden, but this one is painful for all of us. I mean, all 8, and I'm at a loss for words this morning, and I think we'll get further into all of this, but certainly this is, I mean, contributed a lot in Parliament, and you know, drew our attention to many angles, you know, and he'll forever be remembered. He's certainly an embodiment of what I can say a comrade was. Very down to earth and very socialistic in his thinking. He doesn't like the people who we call demigods. He doesn't like that at all, and he felt that we all should be equal, and we should also think always of the people who have not. And I'll take that from him, and in fact, we'll have to carry on his vision and his true nature in terms of all of us being equal. That is one thing. He always would, you know, he abhorred people elevating themselves, you know, and I'll always remember him for that part of him. And what else can I say? I'm done.
Right. Kotin, I mean, I can tell you've been crying because your eyes even show it. It's...
Yes. It's a national tragedy, and let me say good morning to my senior brothers here and to our cherished viewers and listeners. Using your esteemed platform to wish condolences to the president, because this is a national tragedy, and all stakeholders of our democracy, and to the bereaved family, especially the wives. I had a special bond with Dr. Emmanuel and Mutala. In fact, we were both student leaders. You remember in
viewers, as Kotin is speaking, we'll show some pictures showing him and Emmanuel when we were both in student leadership. So,
you remember in 2004, we tragically lost a NUC's president. He was from Tamale, and we were delegated to join government for that funeral. Ironically, that was the first time we both took an aircraft. It was a military aircraft. Only Sunday, if you go to my Facebook wall, I posted this and I tagged him. And I was asking people to try and identify the personalities here. And he responded. Even when we left you on Saturday, we went straight to the State House for the burial of Ambassador Samuel. We met him. He said, Kotin. When I became defense minister, you are the only one from our student leadership stock who haven't come to congratulate me. And I always call him Kofi. Our student days, you know, we always call ourselves our first names and stuff like that. I said, look, I know you are busy. I want you to settle down. You see that anytime you release press statements, I speak to them. And you are doing so well. He even asked that I come and see him this week. And with Mutala, like Doc said, he's somebody who will say it as it is. He's my kind of person. I don't believe in personalities. Your works or your virtues or values will determine the premium I place on you. And you know my struggles with MPP. When I was disqualified in 2020, parliamentary elections, for speaking against the U.S. military agreement then, Mutala reached out to me and said, look, Emmanuel, come to the NDC. Even the last election, I went independent. He was encouraging me to stop the independence and come and help them campaign because they were winning. And for all indication, it looks as if the NPP don't like good people. He even made reference to Sami Jemfi, even Umani Buame and Co, Harun Edriso and Co, that they came from the NPP stock. He sees me as a national asset. We spoke 2 weeks ago. Me, every life matters. The issue of who was to go and who is replacing who doesn't matter here, to me. But that is difficult to take in. Anytime I mount anywhere to speak, I won't know where tears will come from. And I'm someone who doesn't tear easily. You see, when the news broke, Mutaka was tearing. He's a hardcore person. He was pulled out of the aircraft. Mutala had booked his own flight to Kumasi, his own arrangement. But because a vacancy occurred, but we can't talk about some of these things now. My prayer is that God should give them rest. And it should be a warning to us as a people that it is good to love ourselves whilst we are alive. And the dangerous politics we play in this country, it has kind of taken away the Ghanaian sense of belongingness and our sense of value. I don't know how, as a country, we got to this level. But that's a discussion for another day. But for the memories of these gallant men, may God have mercy on their souls. And then, to us as a country, if it demands that we go through an act of parliament to make sure that children or people who suffer calamities like this in service to our country, we do that to make sure they don't lose anything or miss anything. I know Mutala has a younger daughter like my own daughter. I think my daughter is about a year older than his. He doesn't joke with this young girl. So today, how is this young girl going to take it? And in this country, after a month or two, that is the end of it. It has not started today. We lost a president in service. If you ask about the wife and the children, whether the state has been supporting them or not, I'm not sure we can get positive feedbacks, no? You remember the late Bauridu? What happens to the wife and children? Nobody knows. Emisata, John Kuma. So as a country, we have to get our acts right. That is why I always call for building institutions. And that has been the clarion call of my senior brother, Kapito. When we are talking about building institution, dog, it's not for any one single individual. Look at the state of our roads. This year alone, we lost over 1,500 people already on our roads. And over 8,000 injured, some life-threatening. Even Accra to Kumasi, we can't dualize our roads. So even if that was the case, dog, under these conditions, I don't think there would have been any need to use an heli to transport our press. And if you look at the history of these helis, they were procured for specific purposes. For surveillance of our gas pipelines. Is that not the case? And when you are procuring an aircraft, you procure for a purpose. But we have this desire of transforming our aircrafts into other things.
An aviation expert would speak more into it, but Kofi.
Sir. You know, I like Mutala. I met Mutala when I was very active in the MPP communication then. And Ghana, we don't speak the truth. That is our problem. When you speak the truth, because...
We don't like to hear the truth.
No, we don't speak the truth, not that we don't like the truth. Because if we did, when me are speaking, whether I like it or not, I don't care.
But you're Ghanaian.
No, but that's why I say we don't speak. Do you say we don't listen? Me, if you don't listen or not, I'll speak it. I don't care. Because you are no more Ghanaian than me. And I remember Mutala came to me and said, Senior, I beg you, I need you to come and join a task force. When this rice importation thing that the people were bringing them from Abidjan was claiming that even with the Abidjan and everything, transport, all Kominini, it was cheaper than the ones coming from Tema and other harbors. Say, look, I'll put a team together, I'll make you in charge. Go by road to Abidjan. Go and purchase rice. And we went, and it came out that the road people were doing unauthorized stuff. That's why this came out cheaper. Because there's no way you can go to Abidjan, buy the rice, pay duty, and bring it into Ghana. And then, so we'll be very, very close.
That's when he was Deputy Minister
Deputy
of Trade.
Minister for Trade.
Yeah.
You know. And Omani too, I met him back in 2007 with Kojo Van Ess, my own brother Kojo Van Ess, when the NDC was camped in Kumasi for the 2008 elections. And he also and I became friends. I used to tease him that, why your parents have wasted all their money for you to go to medical school. What are you doing?
Okay, so Kofi, hold on. I understand there's a technical challenge. So we will be right back. A quick break. We'll be right back.
Good night. Yeah, Counterterronsm. You know, my wife is from Kojo.
Oh, I see.
So,
If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you're trying to be the change you want to see, if you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the street to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you.
So we apologize for the technical challenge. Before I go back to Kofi, just to bring it back into perspective, we lost the Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Omaniboama, the Environment Minister, Honorable Dr. Alhaji Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, the Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, Muniru Mohammed, the NDC former parliamentary candidate, Samuel Abuaje, the NDC National First Vice Chairman, Samuel Sapon, and 3 valiant military personnel, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Ampedu Manichum, and Sergeant Ernest Addo Mensa. We continue to say that may the souls of these 8 departed men rest in the bosom of our Lord. Kofi, you were saying?
So Omani, when I met him, he's a stamina, just like me. So we bonded. And I used to tell him that I was worse than him when I was growing up, but if you speak and you can't get the words out, just take a breathe. And then, so he's improved a lot. And just this Saturday at St. Pierre Yalis, Ambassadors, it was funny. I met him and he said, Senior, you haven't come to just like he told you. So come. And he always teases me. As for you stay in position for a long time.
Yeah, he likes to say that, yeah.
Then I turned, then was my big brother Sapon, whom I knew way back in Kumasi. Yeah, Kofi, me won't watch it. I haven't seen in a long time. So I was out of the country for some time and I'm back. When you come to Kumasi, come and see me. That was this Saturday. And when you know people on one-on-one basis, it hits your head harder. The military people, their families are also feeling the same way. And just stop saying other people. They also died in the line of duty, serving Ghana. All of them died in the line of duty, serving Ghana. So my issue is, like Mutala believes, nobody is more a Ghanaian than anybody. And the reason, aren't you afraid? He said, oh, me, the man from the north, what am I afraid of? When you believe as a Ghanaian, and most of us don't believe like Ghanaians, we believe like NDC and NPP. And that is where Ghana has come to. Until we start believing that we are Ghanaians, this thing should not be an NDC thing. It's a national thing. And I'm glad that we've seen both parties go on and pay their respect, lay wreaths and stuff. But the question is, after this, then what? That's the question I want to ask myself. And I was okay until I saw how the cocoa bag. And I said, so after all this is how the state treats you? In a cocoa bag? That Ghana as a nation, and the excuse was, oh, where the plane was. The people who were carrying their bodies were being followed by police, fire service, community. So my question is, they couldn't carry, and I'll tell you why. And it's true, probably there was no body bag. My personal thing. My nephew died at police hospital here in Accra, not in the bush. They said they couldn't do autopsy on him. So he needed to be transported from police hospital, the morgue, to Kolebu. I went there. The police morgue here in Cantonments did not have a body bag. But the sad thing is, another police officer in the same office, sold me a body bag privately. Police hospital. So the question I asked myself, institutions, as he mentioned, I believe in institutions. So if the institution is working, people will conform. But if the institutions are not working, and we do you know who I am? Order from above. I'll show you where power lies. That's where people don't work. Because Ghana, if you don't have a godfather, you'll be left on your own. So everybody wants a godfather. Where I grew up, or where I spent half of my life, there's no godfathers. Even the president is not above the law. Here, can you imagine a police officer doing their duty by telling the president that, Mr. President, you can't do this? So let me leave it this way. And to me, it is a sad day or a sad month. What's this? I've even lost about the month. Is it August? This should not be something that accidents will happen. You know, don't get me wrong. Accidents always happen. But the question is, do we learn from accidents? Okay. And when I see since independence, we've not been able to dualize Accra, Kumasi, Accra, Cape Coast, Accra, Volta region. 3 exits. We have failed state. If you ask me, we have failed state. And the amount of money that has left Ghana, the amount of money that people have kept in Ghana, the amount of money that we've borrowed as a state. You mentioned the 16 children. But the question is, when does it stop? So let me leave it this, I just wish them that, the families. I hear Omani's wife went to UK or somewhere with the children, and they just got back 2 nights ago. Can you imagine? You leave Ghana, your husband is home, your father, and then you come back and hear this. Mutala, young children, young wife. We need to do better than this.
One of them, yes.
1 month ago.
I think 5th July.
5th July.
I think, yes.
5th July.
Yes, another one just has a 3-month-old baby.
So the child will grow without even knowing that, the man who brought him into the world, whether he looks tall, short, or fat, the child wouldn't know. It is. And it's not because it's this thing. It's happening in various sectors and various homes in Ghana. A teacher goes to perform his duty, something happens to him, and a nurse, a doctor, you're on your own.
Mourinho just took his appointment not quite long as Deputy National Security Coordinator. It's not up to a month, right?
It is. You see, we need to do better, honestly. And when I tell people that Ghana has been better before, people argue with me. I'm not that old, but at least I've seen a better Ghana. I've seen when Ghana went. I've seen when civil servants were not greedy. Where civil servants actually did their civil duties, had their little bungalow somewhere, had a Peugeot 504, something, and they were fine. Ringway Estate, Laboni Estate. Yes, government gives them V8. A lot of people ask for V8. And that thing, I'm vehemently against it. You come to serve me, and then the excuse is even so ridiculous that the executive has access to vehicles, the judiciary has access to vehicles, so the legislator, who is the third arm, should also be given vehicles. And then they said, okay, fine, don't give us vehicles, but guarantee a loan for us. Why can't you say that government should guarantee loan for everybody? Okay, and then the annoying thing is they don't even pay duties on their vehicles. MPs. The lawmakers.
I think the MPs are excused. If you look at the nature of their work.
They don't pay duties. They go there to make laws and make sure that it's enforced for my life to be better.
No, they make it. The enforcement agencies are there. Enforcement is the problem. Is that not?
When the MP, when the law is not working, it is up to the MP to ask why the law is not working.
We'll come back to this if there's time. Mr. Wilberforce.
Yes, sir.
So you being an expert, I would spare you all this discussion. Was this avoidable?
Of course, every accident is avoidable.
Until it happens.
Until it happens, yeah. So it's definitely avoidable, yeah. But for us, until thorough investigations are, done, we'll not be able to actually pinpoint, but you can come up with possibilities, certain things that maybe we expect. Yeah, so generally it's avoidable.
Okay,
yeah.
So being an expert, maybe you help us with a bit of education. When a flight is about to take off with high dignitaries, what are the safety protocols that are supposed to be done even before the takeoff?
Thank you very much. Actually, there's a big difference between civil, aviation and the military aviation. So in terms of certain protocols, it may not be the same, but of course, they follow, similar issues. So generally, before an aircraft departs, we have type-rated engineers who actually sign off the aircraft. They will check everything, whether there's any fault, if there's nothing. They actually give the go-ahead. And once they do it, the pilots themselves also, inspect, go around the aircraft to make sure that everything is okay. Before then, when you have these flight dispatchers who have 5 flight plans and taking the weather into consideration, they also give the go. So there's a lot of work that goes on. The flight plan goes to air traffic control. In this situation, the military, they will take the weather from the destination. Once it's going to Obuasi, they will take the weather, probably the en route weather as well. And when they are satisfied, then they take off. So basically, these are the procedures that goes on. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things we heard the military mention was the fact that they lost the signal of the aircraft from the radar. What does that mean? And what are some of the things that can cause this to happen?
Yeah, first of all, the aircraft must be equipped, with radar capabilities that we can observe him or we pick him on the radar. Altitude of the aircraft can affect it. So, for instance, if the aircraft is not high enough, you may not pick it on radar. And that is typical of helicopters. Helicopters fly very low. And for that matter, when they move beyond certain distance, you are likely to lose them. Both radar and communication. When I say radar, I mean surveillance in general, because radar is not the only source of surveillance. So once they move beyond certain distance, you lose them. Even communication, because they are very low, you can lose them. And that is what maybe might have happened. Cone. So as they go, they spread. So the higher you are, the better you receive the signals. So if you are beyond that coverage, you are likely to be lost. So that is when they say we lost contact on radar, that is what happens. Yeah.
Okay. Kotin, security. I've always been battling with the idea of flying critical people together.
Yes.
In the MPP were campaigning. I saw one big bus with the flag bearer and a lot of people who are high-rank people in the party in one bus. People were applauding them that it was cost-effective. But my risk mind told me if something happens to this bus, that is the whole structure of one strong political party wiped out. Today we are discussing this because we've put the first vice, the defense minister, the environment minister, in one flight. In one plane, national security coordinator, in one plane. Risk.
Well, thank you, my brother. In security, everything comes with risks. And you see, we tend to copy blindly. This issue of the bus campaigning thing you're talking about is a system that is practiced in the United States of America. But looking at the infrastructure the United States have, we don't have same infrastructure here. So sometimes the populist approach to look more economic focus is what brings us to this thing. And with the instant case we're talking about, don't forget the defense minister was not built to go on this aircraft. It was the president himself. So it would have been the president, the chairman, the national chairman of the NDC, the interior minister, Sami Jemfi, was also built to go, and I think the national security coordinator and the rep from NADMO, and of course the crew. I think it is about time as a country we have a conversation. We are making nonsense of our decentralization concept. We have the president's rep as the regional minister. We still have the president's reps as MMDCs. So is it every case of this nature we have to move central authority from Accra to these areas? These are questions we need to be talking about. But in terms of protocol, it is very wrong to even travel like the president and the vice traveling in the same flight. You know it never happens. But the president traveling with a few of his aides and some key government appointees is not out of the order, even if you look at international best practices. What we have failed to do is take our security serious. What is the state of our aircrafts generally? We rely on military. The castle runs 24 hours. If it's not carrying the political class, it's carrying the chiefs, sometimes to the disdain of the military, for which that aircraft was procured. So it's a legitimate question you have asked. I think that we are having this. No, in 1970, we had a similar situation in the Western region. 2002, we had it in Atiwa Forest, where we lost some medical personnel and things. But because they were not the political class, we didn't talk about it. We, indirectly, for political expediency. Now, your question has brought about an issue, which is very contentious. What is the state of even our presidential aircraft? You see, when Achampong bought a very befitting aircraft for us, we used it on Kufuor.
Yeah, for Cat-28.
When Kufuor was leaving, he found that, look, the country needed a presidential jet. He went for a more robust aircraft for us. Another government comes in power and says, no, we don't have money to do A, B, or C, and went for the Falcon, this smaller aircraft. Today is grounded, economic-wise. Which one was the better choice? If you have bought a better thing that is befitting the country, that aircraft would have been in use today. So I think we have to look at our security infrastructure. Right. And security is very expensive. We must not hide under the guise of economics to deny people we elect to power what we are supposed to do to guarantee their safety. Even though for air disasters, it can happen, like my brother said, it's not a guaranteed stuff. But certain things are preventable. So as a country, let's have a conversation. Security is very, very, very expensive. And all the time we make arguments, we are poor, we can't do this, but we are buying V8s. We are stashing cash abroad, doing frivolous projects. Look at the hole we dug in Accra here in the name of building a house for God. Was it necessary? How much was involved? Close to $100 million.
I think Franklin made a post on Facebook. I mean,
it's 54 million.
And he says that
it's in dollars now.
So we are mourning, but we must demand answers.
See?
I am in touch with the highest echelons of power, and the truth, my dear brothers and sisters, is that the state of Ghana's armed forces was and is still alarmingly terrible. No serious additions and maintenance in the last 8 years. My brother Omanibuama consistently raised these issues at almost every Armed Forces Security Council meeting. One top military liaison said if even Togo were to attack us, we would be wanting. And yet, he throws in a political jab as usual. We had 58 million, blah, blah, blah. But he says, sadly, let's get back to it. Sadly, we must use this painful experience to end illegal mining. And that will come to at the latter part of our discussion, because the reason for this travel was to launch a campaign against illegal mining. So we'll come to that as to whether this death would be in vain, because with 8 lives lost, if we don't go hard, then this will be 8 lives lost for nothing. But let me come back to the expert. I don't know how familiar you are with the Z9 design plane happened, but we also acknowledge that the older the plane or the vehicle, the easier it is or the more prone it is to such accidents. Can we say that the age of this plane played any role in what happened?
Okay, thank you very much. But I must say that I'm not an expert in aircraft.
Right.
Yeah, but at least generally we know, just like even vehicles, when your vehicle is older, it gives you a lot of problems. So the newer it is, the better. So same with aircraft. The Z9 we learned was manufactured around 2000 and is it 20? No, 81 or so, 1981. Then it came into service around actually 94.
This particular
like
Z9?
No, I mean
the
Z9 in general. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are various variants of the Z9. And if I'm not mistaken, the one we are supposed to be using, I say, is a Z9 Eco Hotel or whatever. So that's another variant, which is for multi-purpose. I mean, it can be used for combat, submarine, and other things. So I wouldn't know much details. I think the military, most of these things, they also keep it, I mean, because of security reasons, they keep it secret. But generally, they have multi-functions. So you can bring in one for a particular function, but you can as well use it. So coming back to the age, it's very, very, vital. Once an aircraft is aging, it means the airworthy people must constantly assess it. And, repair works or major works has to be done, regularly. That's why at a point, some people, when they use over time, they discard it. And unfortunately, at times, the third world, we rush into there because maybe it's cheaper. So it's high time we also look at it from different angle. In terms of security and safety, if you always put cost on it, you may not achieve what you want to achieve. Thank you.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned, when I asked what are some of the reasons or the causes for the loss of radar and the loss of communication, you mentioned that if the plane or the helicopter is flying a bit lower than the altitude that it's supposed to fly, it can lose communication with the tower. Now, if the weather is the reason why the pilot decides to fly lower and they lose communication, then now it's dependent on the experience of the pilots, which brings me to the question of pilots are taken into consideration, looking at who even is being flown.
Yeah, I think...
not really, but I believe if he was the president, like he was mentioned, who was going, it might probably not have been
the same pilot, So flying hours is very critical. I mean, when you are determining a pilot in command or the one who is supposed to fly, even the first officer, all of these things are taken into consideration. So, but what we know, especially about Anyaa, is an experienced, pilot. He's been in the Air Force for quite a time, and I have had a chance to, with the aviation, it's an industry, whether civil or military, so we are always together and we work hand in hand, and he's one of the very fine ones. I have very little knowledge about the rest of the crew, because they are younger and we have not had much contact with them. So in accidents, the human being plays a critical role. Even the mindset, we have something we call human factors. You must take a whole lot into consideration before assigning. Somebody may even come from the house. The frame of, mind, you need somebody to do a proper assessment before assigning the person to. So that's why we want to wait for, the investigation, because if they do proper investigation, a lot of things will come up. I'm a professional traffic controller. I've worked at the control center, control tower. Even over there, if we realize that somebody is coming and you see the mood, we try to interview and see, and at times, even though you have been assigned, we have people on standby, we take you off for others too. So the frame of mind and everything, look, people have even gone, pilots have gone into aircraft with an intention to even commit suicide. And you have the German, German wing, one of the accidents that happened. The pilot intentionally those knife the aircraft to kill others. The co-pilot fought hard to prevent him, but they couldn't. So there's a whole lot of, at play. So maybe the investigations will expose a lot of the things. But coming back to the altitude, helicopters cannot withstand a lot of harsh weather conditions, as opposed to the normal aircraft, the big airlines. They are a little bit robust and they are able to withstand bad weather. So mostly, exactly. So mostly the helicopters want to fly below the clouds. So when the ceiling or the cloud base is very low, they tend to come down. And the airspace is structured in such a way that we have areas we call them uncontrolled airspace. So you are at liberty, especially at certain low level where we don't have a lot of flights. You are at liberty to do your own thing. You look around. So we also have what we call visual flight rules and instrument flight rules. So most helicopters fly the visual flight rules: see and be seen, see and avoid, and all those things. So once it's maybe 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet and the weather is bad, he will try to maneuver, come down, look for openings in the clouds and other things, and fly. And in this case, where they have lost contact with ATC or radar, both radar and voice, he will do his own thing, and at times it's difficult. Even when the thing has happened, the timing, how to get that information becomes even critical. So a lot of things goes in like this.
Doc, Kofi mentioned one critical thing, how the bodies were carried in sacks. And for me, when I even saw the image, I wish, because for people's children to see the remains of their fathers who they know are serving the nation being carried in the manner that they were being carried. This emergency response protocol, what's your take? It's if this is what it means to serve my nation, and in the service I lose my life, and this is how my mortal remains will be handled.
Let me say that recently, not to mention the family, but how he allowed somebody to just go and look at a body. And this is, his mistake of just permitting a family member to go see the dead. We don't manage our dead very well in this country. I mean, forgive me, we don't respect the dead. We manhandle the dead anyhow. And let me admit that at many facilities, even when a doctor requires that a hearse come for the body, the family will tell you, oh, we have a car. We'll put it, you know, in the car and go and all kinds of things. And at accident scenes in this country, how we approach accident scenes are so terrible. Be it the professionals themselves or the bystanders, is a huge problem culturally. And I think that maybe more education is needed because, one, the very first thing that should have happened was to cordon off the area. And that I didn't see happen for professionals to come. And with the greatest of respect, when the people have died, there's truly no rush to move them. I mean, let me just say that for me, it should have rather been kept serene and allowed for further or more people to come and support who were professionals. So I would have hoped that they would have cordoned off the area, and sometimes it becomes a battle between you and the civilians, unfortunately. And that is also another problem. I've seen scenarios where civilians are battling with fire service people to put out fires, when the fire service people are even encouraging them to stop.
Is it not a case of the public probably not trusting?
Well, then a lot more work needs to be done. But I must admit that our approach to accident scenes in this country are very bad. And sometimes, in an effort to rather help, you either cause more problem in how you carry the victims of circumstance. And I think that we have a broken system in this country in terms of manpower, equipment, training. All of those things come into play here. And I think that maybe this is a time for us to certainly go back to basics, because these are things that are taught so basic, but we fail to become aware, and also we fail to do the right thing. So public education is certainly needed. How we approach accident scenes. I saw one video the other day, and the question that goes through my mind is, those videoing, could they have rather even helped? You know, it begs that question. I mean, people get time to rather stay aloof and video whilst the crime is being committed or the issue is actually happening. So we certainly need to respect the dead, and we need to manage even when the person has died. I shut down a woman the other time in my hospital. She was rushing to come and see somebody who had passed. And I said, what are you rushing to come? And you know what they do? I mean, they come and see, they go and tell other people. I mean, I shut them down. And I think that overall in this country, how we manage our dead leaves very little to be respected. And as I just said here, my friend in New Jersey, he lost his job for just allowing anybody to go and see the body, because they felt that, I mean, by the rules, it should be husband, wife, or, you know, parents. And for that matter, you know, they don't joke with these things. And I think that we need to look carefully at how we manage even our dead. And I'll say this with the greatest of respect to Ghana, that when you look at Arlington Cemetery's programming for the next 15 years, you look at the budget for Arlington Cemetery, how they intend to bury their service personnel, you'd ask yourself, what's even the budget for people living with disability in this country? You understand? And this is how you measure a country's way of thinking, that they are budgeting heavily and thinking about the respect they'll pay people who have died either in service or have died after serving their nation. And I think that our animal instincts in Ghana need to be tampered down, and we need to change or reorient ourselves as a nation. I'll plead with many people that maybe I was a certain way not being in government, but trust me, my little experience in government is a life of selflessness. A lot of people put in many man hours. Some of the road trips we do, doing politics, only God knows. You understand? And we just never share them, you know, what we go through and why, you know, your MPP primaries, you may have spent more than a V8. You understand? I mean, money's for a V8. And it is no luxury. And I like something that one of our, you know, people said, that we've lost people with major experience. If you in politics, or Mane Boama's experience in politics, Ghana has lost a huge amount of human capital. And these are people who have been trained and managed by the state to this point and have become authorities on subjects, you know, with regards to governance. And that is why we must admit lives are lost, but some lives, you know, with the greatest of respect, are colossal in what the country has lost. All the investment we've made into their education, the many field trips and knowledge acquired, all gone. And I must say that, not to politicize this, but listen, in all seriousness, the safety and security of high-profile people in this country needs to be carefully looked at. In addition to what Kotin said, admittedly, Kamala Harris, when she was driving, we never saw the security detail around them. But if you look carefully, it won't be just the bus certainly riding, not the vice president of a country in America. No. You know, I've had the luxury of, you know, engaging in some of these things, and mind you, before I was largely there during the Bush-Obama era, and before Bush would even come to his own home country, Texas, the security services that would come before, about 3 days, sometimes a week, to fraternize with the people and be there. There's a whole village, okay? And this is maybe largely because of the experience of Kennedy in Texas. So before the president moves, and recently the Republicans have been bashed by the fact that Trump's trips to Florida are costing the state too much. Because when the president moves, the detail that goes with it is heavy footprint. And they were chastising Trump for using his hotels, I mean, as way of, you know...
He's on, they tried to eliminate him during the campaign.
So I must say that one of the things is that we need to return to this local governance structure where we don't need the president for every program. He has, as he rightly said, the regional minister. He has the local government people. Why are we now demanding, as Ghanaians, that president be at every occasion? We need to change. And on that note, I really think that it has affected so many people. I mean, you know, to the extent that parliamentarians who are supposed to be legislative members now are required now to be at funerals and weddings.
Especially when the president's there, everyone wants to catch the president's hair.
As part of these engagements. So So with the greatest of respect, this should be a huge turning point. And when we are spending on proper aircraft for military or for the state, with the greatest of respect, Okujato Ablakwa should be quiet. And he must understand what I'm saying today, wherever he is. Because enough of
the
politicking. We cannot compromise on security and safety. And those populist type of things, with some of these things, need to stop and should be apoliticized. Some of the many important improvements in some of these things were, done reluctantly because of the backslash or whatever you want to call it. And I really think that there were many instances that aircraft maintenance and replacement things came, and we had to put it away because we were worried about what the public would say
about the cost.
But here we are as a nation. We've lost massive experienced people, and whether we like it or not, the state has lost a lot. And I weep, not just because of the state, but I mean, listen, how fun it is to come home to your daughter, and how fun it is for a daughter to receive the mutalas or manibuamas, the new fathers, and now they would not have that experience. And it weighs on many of us every day. It will weigh on us. And I must admit that I know that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, moving from today, every decision he takes, he'll take it with what has happened in mind. And that one, me being a politician, I know that he'll be guided by this near-death experience. Let me put it that way, because based on the narrative, it could have been him.
Kofi.
Okay,
you go on. Say what you're going to say.
No, you know what? When we talk, and I hear brother former or kind politicians making some statements, I get a little bit woozy. The question is now who caused them? Okay, fine. You're talking about politicization. Who started it? So at a certain point, can't you see that enough is enough? That you need to, you do me, I do you. No, I'm just, no. It is going to happen again. Look, you know this thing that happened in Ablekuma?
No.
Yeah.
The by-election.
The by-election. That people are also saying that we are waiting for you at Akwetia.
It's not going to happen.
No, I said people, I didn't say you. Okay, what I'm saying is, as people, we don't even learn from experience. You're talking about bad aircrafts. The military should be in charge of all presidential aircrafts as to when they should buy a new one or not the politician. In Ghana, it's the politician who decides that I need a new one or I don't need a new one. And that is a problem. You cannot allow the politician, because the military knows, they are in charge. They fly the aircraft, they maintain the aircraft, they do all those things. The presidential fleet, if you have a fleet, should be in the hands of the military. It's a security thing. No, any other person can get near to it.
And know about the details.
All those things. Okay. When you go, my son is in the U.S. Air Force. He's at Andrews Air Force Base. When he tells me the details before the President of America leaves Andrews Air Force Base, it's amazing. Okay, He doesn't even drive from Washington, D.C. to Andrews Air Force Base, which is only maybe give and take with his convoy. It shouldn't take him more than 15 minutes. He flies in a helicopter because of safety. Okay, and when he's flying, you have jets protecting him. Okay, there are certain things that, like I said, in Ghana, we should allow institutions to work. Okay, you talk about budget. The military, as we all know, whether in Europe or in America, their budget is so special. Their budget is so special because they do things that ordinary. Yes, but when I hear you talking about the bus on the road and stuff, Kamala Harris, as he rightfully said, the roads are made, though. Here, you don't make the roads. No, I'm just saying, no. You see, this is the thing. I get a little woozy when I hear people making excuses about things that they themselves know that they have an advantage. I'm in a VIB bus. The guy is driving on the shoulder of the road. Some of you people would whisk in a motorcade and a protective in a convoy. It won't happen in the United States. It won't happen in England. Because the people will tell you that you are for me, not for yourself. And these excuses that they want to give to themselves as to because things special things, everything should be equal before that extra thing is given. Joe Biden, do you know his nickname when he was in Congress? His nickname was Amtrak Joe. Amtrak means the train that goes interstates in America. And he lived in Delaware. And because he couldn't afford to have a house in Washington, D.C. and in Delaware, he rode the train from Delaware to Washington every Friday and Monday. Because why? Delaware and Washington is like you going from here to Sowutuom. Right? So why can't you fix our roads? Why can't governments who come, like I said, Accra, Kumasi, since independence, lazy governments. Lazy governments. That is what is happening. When Kwame Nkrumah did the motorway, even England hadn't even built one motorway. M25, when was it built? When Nkrumah had a vision to do a motorway, continuation, zero.
Rehabilitation.
That is a bane.
Zero.
That is a bane of Ghanaians. And then the man that I wake up in the morning to go and queue and vote for wants me to give him special deals. Yeah, why? Yeah. And in some cases, they deserve it. Yeah. There's no two ways about it. But if the general people also don't have the basics, why are we flying government officials with taxpayers' money for them to go to medicals abroad? When you and I go to Kolebu, go to 37, go and see the conditions that we are in.
And don't even have body bags.
Look, this thing that we are taking to South Africa for the forensics, it's a disgrace. We couldn't do them here. And then we say Ghana is the gateway to Africa. We speak big English. In terms of writing, nobody can be Ghanaians. Policy, putting it on paper, nobody. Implementation, zero. Okay, so I get angry, irritated every day when I hear people trying to tell me that because I made a mistake to vote for him or her, he's special than me. I made a mistake because if I hadn't voted, probably you won't get there. They should think about us. Everything is equal for everybody in Europe, America, other countries, China, and all those. I went to China. I was amazed to see the roads in China.
After 2 decades.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And then we talk about the Chinese are taking our resources away.
We are giving them away.
Countries sign an agreement to say that we want a road, build it, operate, and transfer. And we charge proper tolls. When the government in power says that I'm going to charge a toll of 50 cedis from here to Kumasi, the opposition party would cry that they don't like you. Yes. But you need that money to pay for the road so that we can maintain the road. You get my point? Certain things are not partisan. It is about the nation moving the country forward. That's why people feel like sometimes when the military comes in, you can't challenge them. It is better. Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. We are all witnessing it. We are all happy. Yes, there will be excesses here and there, but at least the general outlook is. That is what I want my country to be. I don't want my country to become like an animal farm. And we are running an animal farm in Ghana.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Yeah, we are running an animal farm in Ghana. Like I mentioned in their duties, why shouldn't an MP pay for a duty of his vehicle? I pay for the duty of my vehicle. What is so special about you? You get my point? We are all Ghanaians. In the United Kingdom, this guy, what's his name? His wife, one of the prime ministers. No, not Cameron, before. Blair's wife was going to catch the train. She made a mistake. I think she forgot to pay the fare. She was asked to pay the fare, and she was given a citation to pay a fine. Here, can you tell Mrs. Teresa Akufo or Mrs. Lodina or Mrs. Akufo that she will tell you, I'll show you where the power lies. And that is what we are doing. But because the taxpayer is paying for the train, that includes the wife of the prime minister, you don't have advantage. And this is what I want Ghana to be. We traveled outside, we enjoy, we see, hey, Bruni Wayadio, Bruni Kromo FO. How did the Bruni Kromo become nice? When I was a kid in Accra, this road in front of you, early, we used to go to Keteke and all those nightclubs. When we were coming home in the early hours of the morning, we would see a sweeping car, like I say now abroad, the one that does this and that. Why are they now? Now you wake up, you see grown women, pensioners, sweeping the roads, and you are happy.
How much are they being paid?
No, it's not, I don't even care. All I'm saying is this thing should not happen to Amagana in 2025.
That's the consumer protection person speaking. You can tell the passion, you can tell the drive.
Mutala was very, very passionate about Ghana. Passionate.
William, so maybe I'll take a last word from you before we go on a break. So as an expert, what should we do differently going forward, especially when we have such trips with high dignitaries in there? What should we do differently going forward?
And there are lots. Even currently, if we are receiving VIPs from outside, especially presidents and high level, we have something we call the Purple Airway. You don't allow other aircraft to even come closer to the presidential or whoever that high level UN Secretary General. We create a path and we make sure that other aircraft are. So indirectly, we are protecting those high level, dignitaries. The same way, if the president is moving even internally, when you are departing the aircraft, even on the tarmac, you don't allow other aircraft to go closer until it's gone. And as it's going, you monitor it very well. I think most of the challenges has to do with equipment, both in the aircraft and on the ground. Civil aviation is doing well. Civil aviation has two functions: regulatory and providing air navigation services. Yeah. So apparently, you need to plant all the necessary facilities along the various routes. Even now, because of satellites, a lot of things have changed. But if you have, for instance, some of the equipment, the viewers, the NDBs, all the rest that we can think of, if you equip the airspace very well, you have a radar system that are able to pick, flights at a very low level. Most of these things will be avoided. The military needs to be well equipped. For instance, if you travel outside and you go into the control centers, you see, or you even visit the military, at times they even have similar, similar equipment as the civilian. And they monitor every flight. Here, a flight will, crash or maybe make an emergency landing, and until somebody pick a phone to call, you wouldn't know. So, moreover, we have procedures. In search and rescue, uncertainty phase, alert phase, distress phase, all these things are timing. Some you have to wait for 5 minutes and for an overdue aircraft, when to start, when to initiate. And at times, these timings are very critical because you may save lives. Because once you get there early, you'll be able to. But if for a very long time, for 30 minutes, an aircraft has crashed and nobody knows, for 1 hour, it becomes so. We need to improve our systems. Civil aviation, the military, the AIB Accident Investigation Bureau, I believe they also have a part to play in this. They need to. And one major thing is education. I've realized that in our curriculums, from primary to the universities, aviation is not actually expanded. Very little is known. We only know about the aircraft, we only know about the airport, we only know about pilots, the rest, but protecting the crime scene. Once there's an accident, it becomes a crime scene. So in terms of security, the first thing is nobody is allowed. And by ICAO regulations, which we have signed on to, we are supposed to protect those areas. So for us to see people, of course, when the people have cordoned off the place and the experts are there, they can ask for, other civilians to come and help, contribute. But you don't allow them to. But the people are not aware that this is the situation. Once there's an aircraft, you cannot just move there. The inspectors should have been first to go there. For instance, AIB, I was expecting AIB to go there. The military should have been there. The police should have been there.
The police should have been there.
Exactly. You see, so these things... Yeah, but we need to find a way, just like we are talking about the road and infrastructure and other things, we need to ensure that most of these things are done. This time there was a use of drones to, do a lot of things. These things can be exploited. And I
didn't see any drone being even deployed.
Fly drones over there.
We don't have them.
And some of these drones are able to, they have certain...
medicines with drones in Ghana, so why can't you fly them?
Yeah, so those are there. Maybe they have a special, speciality. Yeah. So basically, we have a lot of things to do. We need to do a lot of education. We need to improve, sensitization of our citizens. In civil aviation, we do a little, even though not much. For instance, we have constant interaction with fishermen in terms of search and rescue. So that when there's any accident on the sea, because they may be the first people to see, apart from the radar. If it goes off radar and you need people to, at times the farmers, we engage them, just like we have done, but exactly. So once you engage them, you give them numbers to call in terms of this, they will be able to call earlier and something can be done faster. So we need to, I know we do it, but it's not so extensive. So we need to ensure that there's a search and rescue manager in civil aviation. He needs to be empowered to ensure, do all this. So there's...
Let me add one key thing.
I also wanted to...
Yeah. Admittedly, political figures matter in the sense that the 2 terms of Donald Trump, in terms of his military budget, is almost second to none. Yeah. And that one just means that the executive can take a very bold decision and really make sure that the military is well taken care of. Yeah. Because if you compare, it so happens that the Republicans are known to like wars, but what is happening now...
They make money from going to war because they own all those factories that makes the ammunition.
But the key point is that Trump's military budget, second to none. And that is something we need to look at to really attend to.
I wanted to add that, you see, in 2020, we passed an act.
Let's make it fast. I need to read the assurance given, but let's go on.
We passed an act establishing the Air Crash Investigation Bureau. We have them, but under-resourced. And the composition of the investigation team solely in the hands of the military, I beg to differ. I would thought you would have come to that, because it shouldn't be solely in the hands of the military, because we want closure to these matters. They cannot investigate itself. And don't forget, there were civilian political class.
So actually, for the investigation, when we come back from the break, we'll speak to it, and that I'll come to you to speak to it.
Fine.
So we'll come to it. So the president has given some assurances on the investigation. The Ghana Armed Forces has launched a full, transparent inquiry into the crash. An investigative board of inquiry has been set up to find the cause. Flight data and cockpit voice recorders have been retrieved for analysis. All 8 bodies have been recovered and identification processes are ongoing. The government is in close contact with families regarding funerals and memorials. So the president has indicated and given assurance that it will be investigated. We would look into whether the armed forces are the right body to investigate an accident that involves the armed forces being the ones piloting the plane. So we'll look at that one when we come. I have a few comments from viewers, but before I do that, William, I want to thank you. William will take leave of us right after the break. So William, thank you very much for your expert advice. I'm sure we'll call on you again as the story and the more details unfold. We'll definitely call on you again to give us some more insight into this. Right.
Thank you very much.
So from our viewers, it says that in the aviation space, statistics have it that many of the accidents are attributed to human error. There is the saying, takeoff is optional, landing is compulsory. Great minds will understand this. This is from Steve from Hacho Rabbit. From Zuma from Tatali says, I think what happened shouldn't be politicized. Nobody could escape from such situation, Destiny has played its roles, and who are you to deny God's agenda? May the souls of the departed rest in peace. Also from Mustafa Bature Salama from Kumasi, Asawasi, says that it's the saddest moment the country finds itself. My deepest condolence to the President of the Republic of Ghana, families and the entire families of tragic accident who passed away on the line or in the line of duty to save Ghana. I am in sorrow, but what the panel says made me sorrow or feel sorry for the system. Mustafa says that we've made him lose hope and feel sorry for the system. Well, viewers, we will be right back after this break. When we come back, we'll look at the reason for this travel, Galamsey, the fight so far, life that it's taken, people who did not will for this to happen, people who did not go because they were part of the operations of the Galamsey, but they were in its service to make things better, to improve the process. What does this loss mean to the fight of Galamsey? We'll be right back.
If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you're trying to be the change you want to see, if you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. There's a place up there for people like you. I know you're out there, so keep doing what you do. 'Cause there's a place up there for people like you.
Well, welcome back, viewers. It's still heavy. We're trying as much as possible to move on. I mean, like my panel said, life still goes on. As hard as it is, we can't mourn forever. We would have to move on. It might be slow paced, but we'll definitely have to pick up. I have in studio to replace William Nipapo. Nipapo is a lawyer, and he is also representing from the National Democratic Congress. So, Ni, I know this. All of us are feeling this, but for the NDC, considering the role Dr. Mani played, I think he was the director of operations for the
director of elections.
Yes.
He was an IT. He's the Minister of Defense. He was
the one holding the blueprint for that crazy win over Dr. Adomako.
It's a difficult time in the DC, you know. As a country, you know, and it's more difficult for us in the NDC and in government and everywhere else, because it's like a vacuum, you know. It's unreal. You understand? You talk to people as early as 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock. You know, these are people that people interacted with just minutes, you know, and you even put yourself in your own shoes. That look, you wake up in the morning, we all discharge various duties for and on behalf of the state, and you say goodbye to your family, that you are going to work to discharge state duties, and the next thing is that you are no more. I mean, that is inevitable, but it's a heavy blow, and to the family, you know, the individual families, the children, the loved ones, the greater NDC party,
the greater nation, you know. I think our party chairman put it succinctly when he said that you can't question the will of Allah, you know. In these times, I draw strength from my Muslim brothers, because when I put on my Christian cap, I would ask questions. I'm forced to ask questions, you know. But when I put on the cap of my Muslim brothers, you know, they strictly say that whatever happens is the will of Allah. You can't question, you know, Allah. So I take more strength these days, in these periods, from my Muslim brothers, that God grant them a safe place to rest, because it is not easy, and it is a very difficult moment for all of us. You know, you can imagine the president. You know, I mean, you've seen the pictures and the videos. You know, it was a very difficult moment. It was a very, very difficult moment. It even takes me back to the death when President Mills died. You know, it's unfortunate that, you know, sometimes he has to take these heavy blows on behalf of all of us. You know, but it is well. You know, it is well, and I pray that we come out of this forged as a united. You know, tragedy is difficult.
On that note, saying that we should come out of this forged as a united front. Yeah. These gentlemen were on their way to launch the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program, the RCOMSDIP. Yeah. And this is a program intended to, for want of a better word, fight Al-Galamsey and formalize the small scale or the mining operations and promote sustainable mining. Can we say that what has happened now gives us no cause to say that no party or no political administration does not have the will? Because for these people to die, nobody can talk about will to fight again.
Today is not a day for politics. You know?
Yes.
Today I think we can spare the politics a bit.
No, but
so we can address issues devoid of politics. There's a way we can do it. As I said, that without drawing us into whether one party did this, one party did. Let's just say that people have laid down their lives. This is the ultimate sacrifice. You understand? If we were in the military, we always say that the laying down your life is the highest form of sacrifice you could give to your country. And in pursuit of public service, it tells us that even in the pursuit of public service, you can lay down your life for your country. And if there's no greater love than what these public servants have laid down their lives for, then what we can take inspiration from is the fact that together we can decide as a country to put aside the politics. You understand? In times of tragedy, other countries have laid legislation that was devoid of politics. You understand? When the 9/11 happened, you understand? The American Congress took legislation, you understand, the Patriots Act, that sought to defend the American homeland and brought up the Homeland Department and all that, you understand? These are times when I believe that Parliament, for example, could be called into session, you understand? And we lay a bipartisan legislation, for example, in support and in honor of these heroes, you understand? Addressing the issue of Galams, of national mourning, where we have all decided that we'll put everything aside and come together and mourn together. It was beautiful seeing Dr. Baumia go to lay his wreaths. All the opposition members, they've gone to the various homes. President Kofi visited the president. I'm sure if the Chance Council President Nana Akufo-Addo will also, because in these times, we are human beings first and foremost. You understand? The president needs the support of everybody. And so I'm calling on our members of parliament, and especially parliament, to come together and in honor of these fallen heroes of this country, come together and put together a bipartisan bill in honor of these 8 people, you understand? So that if for nothing at all, we will always remember this day and remember this bill as being the genesis of our decision as a country that, look, we can deal with certain things devoid of politics. Because these national heroes laid down their lives for a certain cause, you understand? And we need to honor that cause. We can't go back to business as usual. It's not possible. If we do that, then we are not a nation we're dying for. Yes. If we cannot forge together in unity and let us have some purpose for the sacrifice, this is the ultimate sacrifice that anyone can give as a public servant, as a person. And so I hope that as part of whatever is going on, Parliament would call into session and together come out with something that will be befitting of the sacrifice that has been made by these heroes.
Doc, you know, before the aviation guy left, right, he was talking about numbers, emergency numbers should be given to. Do you know the emergency number for Ghana?
For Ghana?
Yes, the emergency number for Ghana.
The whole country?
Yes.
I know.
I mean, but
the emergency number, 191. Then there's 192 and 193. Ambulance, I think, is 192.
No, but we should have one number.
It used to be
for you to call a call center, and then
999.
And then they would direct you.
Yeah.
Whether you want fire, but you knowing fire, ambulance, police. I mean, how are you going to remember all those?
It used to be 999. We used to have it then later. The US, okay, so ours was 111.
Yeah, 911 is in the US, 4444, 114, 441 is in the UK. Yes. So here, you have to call 1-800 something. Even for the police.
And it should be so easy that
even a child
3-year-olds
can just pick the phone and call.
Do it.
I think it used to be and it was changed. I don't know the reason why it was changed. I don't know the reason why it was changed. Anyway, so on the screen we would be looking at what the launch of the Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program. This was where the president and then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources were billed to be on that day. We understand the president had a clashing itinerary, so he had to ask for one of his team members to represent him. Earlier we heard it was Muntaka. We can't say for a fact how true that is. Then later he was also substituted by I think Mutala. However, the unfortunate happened. We can think of all things, what if it's the president and all that, but basically we'll be stretching into a world of imagination, the what ifs, and that causes the next point of thinking beyond the normal. But Doc, for me, Nipaku mentioned something interesting, and because you are a former MP, could this be what will birth a new legislation or a stronger enforcement power to bring to an end this Galamsey menace?
It should. It should be the what some call the inflection point. Something that is so catastrophic and can even be labeled an Omane Mutala bill, okay? And
prefer it's even named after the soldiers.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, it should be, but I think in reverence to their level in terms of governance and, you know, protocol-wise, whether we like it or not, if they are being mentioned, they will be mentioned in that regard, you know, in as much as comrade wants everybody to be equal. Yeah, they need the esseno. So I really think that this is a core, and this is something that all of us can rally behind, and certainly, I think that every Galamseya should feel very bad, really, because their actions and inactions have led us to this, and I see this as externalities of illegal mining, and though people are dying from the mercury or being maimed, we're having issues of fertility with the mercury and cyanide that are being used in our water bodies, and even the turbidity of the water that we drink, and how Ghana Water Corporation is struggling to clean these waters. I think that the externalities now have come home, and it's come to all of us, our doorstep. And what is so clear to all of us is that if illegal mining was not a menace to our society, these fine gentlemen would not have been on this flight. Okay? And it is costing the nation and all of us this pain and grief. And the linkage between illegal mining and this demise is so clear and should be made so clear to all of us. And we should sit at the table, and I think that every well-meaning citizen also have an opportunity to pour their hearts out to their local members of parliament. And that is how this thing will then gravitas to that point where it becomes a demand on them, a demand on politicians to finally crack the whip. And I want to now see the financiers of these illegal activities really put to the book and as it is, made to right their wrongs. And I must admit that it hasn't been easy, but like I said earlier, that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will every day make a decision about Galamsey with this loss. And I know how dear Omani Boama was to him. In fact, I mean, nobody can discount or nobody can almost dispute that. And I must say that if we were asleep with regards to mining and how it is affecting us as a nation, this issue of loss of great lives, heroes, should be that point where we say enough is enough. And now what is very clear is that Galamsey is not, quote unquote, an NDC or an MPP battle. This is all of us. And I'm happy the admission has come that, these politicians were MPP at some point and became NDC at some point. At the core of it, they are all Ghanaians. And when the mercury comes to Tesano or Abelempe, it is coming to all of us. Yesterday, one MP said, we all shop at the same market. Our produce are being affected. We are sitting here, yams from Ghana, Europe is saying that you have traces of metal, and for that reason, your exports are going to be affected. And we have Ghana Standard Board or Authority, and they are sleeping about Ghanaians taking in this. Listen, we need to be serious about certain things, and people who have been trusted with authority should not go and be taking kobo to renege on appropriate duties that have been served them. So I think that for once, somehow, we all need to change. And some of the highest crime syndicates are also defended, unfortunately, by lawyers. and we want to be conscious of
lawyers.
We need to be conscious about some of these things, and I really think that, listen, sometimes the Chinese way might be what we need to look at. I mean, when government officials take minuscule amount of money, they are subject to even firing squad. Right. And that is why you see their roads done well. No libby. No.
I understand when you're given a contract to do. I mean, I might be wrong, but a friend of mine who's a business person indicates that when you're given a contract to construct a road, in that contract there is a clause that indicates that your road is supposed to have a certain shelf life. Yeah. If it destroys or there is even a single pothole on it before, you are excluded from any business
for a long time.
with forever.
Yeah.
And so it becomes
even your life.
Punitive.
Even your life.
It's punitive enough for them, so they make sure whatever
contract given to Ghanaians in Ghana comes with those clauses, but it's not enforced.
Yes. But they even take and sublet. That's the unfortunate aspect.
You're talking about the yam. Even pawpaw grown on trees are now being affected.
Yes.
Pawpaw is not the yam that is on the ground.
Can you believe that?
Kofi, and in this fight, I mean, because you are consumer, so we are the consumers. In this Galamsey fight now, where it's got into now, everybody in Ghana now is sad. I want to believe with this, that whether they are MPP, they are NDC, you're seeing it even for the first time since Thursday. I'm seeing little partisan politics on social media. The famous MPP communicators, the NDC communicators, everybody has slowed down and everybody is quiet. What can communities do, or what can we individuals do to help this fight of Galamsey?
You know, I like where the need started from as to the legislators coming together to come with some bill to make sure that people who are caught in this menace are dealt with through the legal way. Unfortunately, in this country, we write bills and enforcement is very, very lacking. The issue being is greed, number one, 2, poverty, and 3, people are not punished enough. Because when my profit is more than the punishment, I repeat the crime. Just like any pharmaceutical company or any manufacturer, there's a fine that if you flout the law, you'll be surcharged $5 million. If his profit is $50 million, he doesn't care. You still do it because he's making $45 million at the end of the day. So we should look at both, whether just not paying a fine, but some jail time attached to it so that it will make your life uncomfortable. And it's not just an individual. We could take a whole lot of people. Look, in other jurisdictions, blowers. In Ghana, if you become the whistleblower, they will give you out. Yeah, that's a problem. So why would I go and do a whistleblowing thing and then my life is at stake? I'm trying to do things in the name of the nation so that everybody will be protected. You know, I was having an argument with some friends the other day, and I was telling them that not that the Europeans are better than us or the Americans are better than us, but majority of the people live month-to-month paycheck. So he knows that when I spend my money, pay my bills, do all that, by the end of the month, another check is coming. So the temptation of going to do something untoward is reduced. That doesn't mean that we don't have criminals over there. We do. But because majority are comfortable, Ghana, even the agencies that are supposed to enforce the law, I'm talking about police especially, have you seen the livelihood of a police officer before. Go to Central Police Station. Go to Nima Police Station just here. Go and see how the police people who live there live.
I think within the week when some of the team members went to visit the home of is it Anala? I think he's the one at Teshi if he has a family there.
He lives in the barracks?
No, I don't know. It's not.
Oh, he lives in the house. It's good. Yes. I'm talking about the people who live in the barracks.
Even in the house, when he's a squadron leader. When you see the environment and you see the home, you ask yourself the same questions you are asking.
Yeah, a squadron leader should not find it difficult to be able to find afford a 3-bedroom house. A squadron leader, he's not a small person. You get my point? So if the squadron leader is struggling, like you said, they went to where he lives, why would he be subjected to or be tempted to take something under the table? You see, this is the bane of Ghana, what we are going through. Kofi Van Ess used to say something, and we all laughed at him. He said, if you don't pay police and all those people well, nothing will work. In other countries, the police are paid enough for them to be able to afford a mortgage, be able to go and
have some holiday,
have a car finance, and everything. Here, what's the police rank? A chief inspector. A chief inspector cannot even go and say, I'm going to finance a Kia Picanto. A Kia Picanto. So the police chief inspector also wants a Kia Picanto. So obviously, when temptation comes his way, he would take the bait. So we should try as much as possible. I keep saying that we should pay people what is called living wages, not minimum wage. Living wages means we've given you enough for you to live. So that's why you say the Chinese, and there was one official who was wearing a $5,000 watch. He was killed. We have government officials, we have civil servants in Ghana living at places that, all things being equal, they shouldn't they can't afford it. But they live there and they come to work every day. Some of them even live better than their senior officers. Yes. So the question is, how do we fix it? This Galamsey issue is way overdue. And then you see, when I first came back in 2006, Eni Obuasi, he was the MP. I used to tell him that he's a lucky man that I'm not from Obuasi. I would have campaigned that he would lose his seat. He says that of Hawaii. I said, the people of Obuasi they done Galamsey always, but they didn't do it as to what we are seeing now. And then your government is bringing a law to take their livelihood away. You don't give them any other alternative. And then you say people should go and buy escape. The people who were doing Galamsey those days, they don't have excavators. Yeah. You go to Obuasi, you see somebody wants to buy your car, and then you are trying to show off. You tell them, sir, if you don't stop your show off, I will pay you and let you walk back to Kumasi. And if you go to his room, you come back with the cash and pay you off, and you walk back to Kumasi. But they are not destroying the waters. No. Even if they are destroying the waters, maybe the water is not Obuasi. Not the scale that it is all over Ghana now. Okay, so we need to look at it. Mining is a good thing. It gives taxes and revenue to the state. We are not the only country that does mine. You know the Chinese people who are doing mining here? There's a province. That whole province, all they do is mining. But they are regulated. Okay, America does fracking. They do all those things. But it's regulated. You can't just allow somebody to go and do something. I hear there's a mining procedure called one leg. Yeah, there's one called one leg. That is for the beginners.
Okay.
So the area boys, they will start going to do one leg. As they are doing one leg, then they'll have small money then they move to the next level. Then they will come together and even go and rent the champagne or champagne. And then as they are making money, they will buy their own champagne. My nephew is into money, so he was one telling me that, uncle, if you are not lucky, we can't stop this menace because the money involved is so big. He said, as they have bought their own thing, then they will start renting the excavator. So for some small time, they will have enough money to buy their own excavator.
The money involved is so huge that we can't fight it. Does this now push the agency to attract more resources? They are willing to kill.
Somebody in the village plays draft all day, drink palm wine, and then somebody says, look, let me give you a job. You make 150 cedis a day. 150 cedis a day. How are you going to convince that boy that he shouldn't go into that paper? He makes 150 cedis a day. Times 20 is what?
3,000.
Thank you. So until we find alternative livelihood for them, whether give them money to do small-scale mining, small-scale farming.
Farming is the
Farming is the way to
farming.
go. But the lands are destroyed. You have to reclaim the lands.
But we can start. We can start.
If you show them the future.
So, to your question, I think that as a country, we have to stop the argument about the costs and treat this issue as an existential threat to we as human.
It's like, let's say the Apostle Dam is getting destroyed.
To be forewarned is to be forearmed. And these gallant men, to me, they have been the sacrificial lamb for our fight against Galamsey. I think in every situation we get a saturation point. And I think this is a saturation point. And we have no excuse whatsoever. I think Chief August should, maybe through Parliament, as we are all agreed, we look at a day of reclaiming our Galamsey sites, just like we are all looking into the way forward in memory of these people. Why did I say we should leave the argument about the cost and look at it as treat it as an existential threat to our very survival? What is happening at the Galamsey site, my brothers? It's not only Ghanaians who are there, foreigners, terrorists. These extremist groups, they've taken advantage of our lax laws and they are destroying our natural vegetative cover for their own gains because we don't enforce our laws. Look at the porous nature of our borders. So that is why I started by saying that to be forewarned is to be forearmed. For all you know, these people pay the ultimate, just like Jesus Christ did for us, so that we turn a new leaf. So the saturation point has come, and government must take a zero stand against this menace. It doesn't matter who is involved. And I can say on authority that in the next 6 months, if the menace of Galamsey doesn't start to decline, this government will face a political misfortune by way of elections. Because you see how, as a country, we have all come together, devoid of our political lines. Because these people died because of what? You know what I'm saying? So why should you allow another human being to continue to destroy the environment because of what they will get into their pockets? So I think moving forward from today, and let me even look at the security aspect. we did some research, and it will be published very soon. The Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. Are you aware that Ghana has become the base for these extremist groups to come and kind of take advantage of our systems, especially in our Galamsey sites, extract these mineral resources, sell it to whoever they want to sell, make their money and fund violent extremist groups elsewhere? Are you aware? You remember the forest they went, the military, some time ago, and that town is back in active service. So you see, we always crack the surfaces of the issues.
It's back in active service.
I'm telling you.
In the forest.
In the forest.
They had electricity.
How did they get electricity? We are a joke.
With a walkie-talkie.
We are a joke.
Don't let you know that.
You see, I think this issue also brings something to the fore. We have square pegs in round holes because of political expediency. Our institutions are no more manned by the experts. The experts now go and salute the political class. A teacher taught me, I respect a teacher. A teacher's reward is in heaven, they say, and a teacher is happy to see his or her student prosper. You bring a teacher to head an organization because of political expediency he had no knowledge about. That's the extent we have come to as a country. And this Galamsey manners we are talking about, Obasi, go to the north and see. You have no idea, especially in the Upper East region.
I understand there's a video, and I'm sure my technical team are trying to get it, Angola, where they've given some Chinese nationals 24 hours to evict. So I'm sure we'll get that video.
I like the Chinese ambassador. When the issue of the Chinese issue came, they were destroying our forests. He came, no. Who brought these Chinese? We know the people who brought them. So I think there should be a national emergency after we have laid these gallant men to rest. Then we'll flash out everybody in our Galamsey side. There should be a moratorium on any form of illegal mining across our forest reserve.
Proper reset.
A proper reset. It doesn't matter who is there. Because otherwise we make nonsense about the death of these gallant people. You see how Terry I was when I was talking about Manibuama and Mutala and the rest.
And to add to your point, I think that this is certainly Ghana's drug war.
Yes, exactly.
And the way the Mexicans, South Americans attend to the illegal drugs. And let me beg and say that we need a special unit that is paid appropriately to make it difficult for them to be compromised. And then in addition, elsewhere, the drug enforcement unit, they themselves are policed by other people. So that when you are doing things extravagantly, or you are engaging in meetings with people you're not supposed to be engaging in.
Then they do lifestyle audits.
Then they let you know that, listen, based on these evidence of your sightings at these places, you're off.
And one of the things that we should constantly be monitoring is our nothing borders. Because it's so connected to Burkina Faso, to the Sahelian areas, you understand? And one of the magnets for terrorism and insurgency is natural resources. You know, the entire destabilization that went on by Charles Taylor at the time was fueled by Sierra Leone's diamonds. It caused a destabilizing effect from Sierra Leone to La Côte d'Ivoire, you understand? And even to Burkina Faso, all all because of diamonds. And so we need to look at it carefully to ensure that we treat it, as you said, as a national security threat, you understand, devoid of politics. Yeah. So that it doesn't matter. And based upon this unfortunate incident, you understand, we should make it a national vow that it doesn't matter who you are. It matters not your standing in politics, whatever. There must be a zero tolerance for illegal mining. And we take you on, we make you an example, you understand? And so we should go in there and make it, you know, one of the most expensive businesses that you could to engage in.
And like Doctor said, you did a very good example with the Mexico drug thing. That's how we need to treat this thing.
Let's hold on. Let's watch the. I mean, I mentioned a few minutes ago that Angola has given 24 hours eviction notice to Chinese nationals in their country. They are being accused of laundering mineral resources out of the country. So they've asked them to evict. There is no discussion whether you are involved or not. Leave our country, technically. And on the screen, you can see them lined up.
You can also be making a mistake by the
exactly. I was
it's just a foreign thing. It is both a local thing.
You see,
no, we'll come to the local involvement, and I like the point that you're making, Kotin. But get back to you on that. Yes. So, Kotin, you were saying that likening this to the
Mexican
drug war, and I'll come to Nick Papo with a question. But please go on with your point.
So, with the video you've just shown, look, we cannot compare situations. This thing comes with a lot of diplomatic consequences. In our fight against Galamsey, we must do it within law and international law. But for what the Angolans are doing, I think is so draconian, and it has no place in any proper functioning democracy such as ours.
Maybe it's also to save lives. Maybe they realize that there could be local...
Maybe, I mean, there might be some other question, responses
we have to go to the root of the issues. Who bring these Chinese people? So like the drug menace in Mexico, look, like you mentioned, there should be a task force directly headed by the president or somebody in higher authority. They should not take command from anybody. Even if you catch a minister engaging or whoever, they are calling party chairman or whoever, put the person before the cameras and let the whole world see him. We can't lose these gallant men and still go about our galamsey activities as if nothing has happened. It cannot be tolerated in this country.
You know, I'm laughing because we have a country, and this is, as I'm going to ask Okujato Ablakwa.
Okujato
Ablakwa. We are doing free visa entry for a lot of countries.
That's African countries.
No. A lot of countries.
We have reciprocal.
No. A lot, at the airport, a lot of countries come and they do visa upon arrival. Even to the extent that we are even giving Ghanaian citizenship to Americans, African Americans, and I'm just asking, what goes into
this thinking,
this investigation, or even there should be a conditionality that if you are bringing some money to come and invest in Ghana, then we can do that. As it pertains in other countries, that if you spend so much money in the economy, you're entitled to that. Yeah. Okay, but we do things, we don't even have measures to track people who we give free entry to enter Ghana.
We don't even have the statistics of foreigners in this country. We don't.
We shouldn't paint the picture as if our national security.
I'm not saying they're not working
for us. But the point is well taken. That we have issues. I mean, even our borders. If you go to some of our landlocked borders, there are places where you can walk through, and we all know these are illegal, and where we need justification for some of the things that typical Africanism.
Yes.
Because and then intra-African trade as well. I was recently in South Africa, and I was happy. I mean, the free entry, I spent less than 2 or 3 just at the minute at the immigration. So we should. It is part of an African dream that we should have a borderless. We can't have after working if we don't have that. But of course, within our national security priorities, we cannot have a situation where we don't know who is entering our country. There cannot be a system where we should not be able to track anyone who has entered our country, because we know that it's not everybody who enters your country that has good intentions.
If some of us went there, it was just
exactly. So let's all, as we are saying, take this moment as a moment of reflection and a re-enhancement of our fight against galamsey and illegality and call and look. Let's also be clear. This is a country that is always known to question the cost of everything. Maybe we need to take a second look at that. And we don't look at the quality of things as well.
The parties that do that.
It is about time, and that's what today we want to be bipartisan. Let us be prepared to spend money, you understand, to protect our national resources. So that if we say that we are the biggest problem...
The corruption. the issue is the same thing, party in power bringing their own party people to come and do everything.
So, back to you. It was a Saturday like this, 2017. Yeah. Then we got information that a military man, Mahama.
Yes.
Major Mahama.
Major Mahama. They had been deployed, and then there were 4 of them that they had some information of galamsey. I think it was in Diaso at the time that there was some galamsey activity, so they were asked to go there. And then they went there, and then the information was that early in the morning he was jogging. I mean, unofficial information links it to a lot of things. And he was lynched.
Yes.
8 years later, we are still talking about galamsey. This was 2017. We are still talking about we need to put in systems and structures. We need to fight it stronger. What fight can be stronger than the fight using the military?
Let's make, and today let's be frank about certain things. One of the biggest supports, bipartisan supports that we ever give any fight was the one led by the Coalition Against Illegal Mining, which was led by Mr. Kenashigbe and co. The media were all over it in support of President Akufo-Addo's fight against illegal mining. But illegal mining has permeated every level of our society. So you have the political class, and as somebody said, there's a lot of money in this enterprise.
Too much money.
And once you have that corrosive, money is corrosive. You understand? It will sponsor primaries, it will sponsor it's like narcotics. It will sponsor a political activity, and once it is money that can get into the politics, it means that you are talking about it. How do you fight this? It is not something that it takes a lot of political will. If you don't have a political person who tells himself that, look, damn the, you understand? That no, even that, but at least it's one of the few places we can say we come together. You know, and or how you guard if your mother's life is threatened, as President Rawlings would say, guard or maybe the way we guard the December 7th the votes in the ballot boxes. You understand? Guard your local areas. This is where sometimes I miss President Rawlings. That if this fight were sometimes in this era, you understand, he would probably, I can imagine him going there and telling everybody that guard your villages and your rivers the way you guard your mother's life. Because that's where we got into. There are areas in this country where there is no illegal mining. The water is clean. Yeah. The chiefs
said no.
No way. There are chiefs that are prepared. Yes.
Yes.
They said that if you enter there, at your own risk. You won't come out. Maybe we need to go that way. You understand? Because at the end of the day, for me, once it is a political, once the issue of money is involved, if you don't have strong will, you need people who will be used as examples. You understand? That we prosecute certain high-level persons, well-exposed persons, people we know are involved. We give them 20 years. I always remember President Rawlings making this example of a gentleman who was involved in these ritual killings. And the reason why he caused the firing squad to be done in the village of the person was because that person was a person of influence.
His own cousin. Yes. You remember where he did his own
but
cousin?
Even the one he did in the village, he said it was psychological. It was to send a message to the local people that nobody was above the law. We need to have certain clear, you see, when you jail a few people, when you prosecute a few people who are highly, everybody knows that no, this fight, we are serious. And when was the last time you saw any politically exposed person?
Zero prosecution.
We're always going for the Chinese.
The low-hanging fruits.
The low-hanging fruits.
And so we are deporting them.
We are deporting them.
They find way back.
It's about time we made examples out of people.
Yeah.
I don't own a mining license. You understand? I have never been involved in, so I can proudly say I doubt whether that dog has ever been involved. If we're able to have politicians...
There are too many mining licenses in the system.
Exactly.
And they are still issuing mining licenses as we talk.
Let me say that you have limited number of people that can go hunting and let alone mining.
Mining.
And I think that we're joking too much with these things, and certainly it isn't just handing over mining licenses. What should go into getting the approval in terms of your environmental responsible nature of doing your business is very important. And I also must admit that there aren't enough judges in this country who have the balls, excuse me to say, to certainly prosecute people without being influenced. We need environmentally sensitive judges who will be very, very firm, without fear, without being corrupted. Forgive me if the judiciary is not happy with what I'm saying, but I think that, you know, in some instances, people, well-meaning people may have taken people to court, and because of things changing hands, the people who are supposed to be jailed are let go.
I don't understand in China, when you cut down a tree, they use the age of the tree to sentence you.
No, you can't cut the tree without a proper approval.
But when
that's the thing. Look, just here.
The age of the tree.
Just here, right across the street from your station. Have you seen those beautiful trees that has been cut down? Apparently, I think they're supposed to do, they're going to do a cross bridge. A footpath or a cross bridge or something like that. Yes, the question is what went into it? Well, somebody just applied. So, this is your mic thing, it keeps giving me wahala.
No, we're picking for it.
Okay. Somebody just applied, or the school decided it should be something that goes into it. I stopped going to a particular church because there was this old tree in the churchyard that if the church is full, we sit underneath it, and then
I know why you sit under the tree. For good fresh air.
Everything. I will tell you. And then all of a sudden, one day, I go there and the tree is cut down.
It's gone.
And they said that the man who I ordered it to cut that have it cut down, it's a white man. You know, and I said, this same white man in his country, if they are going to cut down a tree that he thinks has to be preserved, he would tie himself with a chain around the tree, resisting that if you want to cut the tree, cut him first. And then he is in Africa and he's doing this. You know why? Because he claims that the roots of the tree is eating into the walls and stuff. There's a way that you can do it. Then we sat under the tree and we were hearing conference. And I said, oh, but
interesting.
I come to the church to hear. I come to the church to hear conference so that I get closer to God. So that I get closer. If I mention the people,
While the sermon is ongoing, people have to talk.
No, and they brought Kofi Yama. They brought every collection. So my question is, if I'm paying all this, it doesn't matter where I sit. Because there's a speakers outside.
So I would want to apologize to viewers. We know some of you were expecting us to discuss the Coco and the DSTV issue, but please permit us. Today is a heavy day, and today we are dedicating this whole show to the. No, we'll talk about it the latter part. For the DSTV, we'll just talk about it the latter part when we're just about. And I know that you have an interest.
No, but the Coco to me, I'm from the Coco area. And
next week, definitely.
5 minutes.
We'll bring you back. Next week Saturday, because I know you have the way you sat under a tree. I know you have an interest in things that
refuse going to church.
No, today I going on to the tree.
Yes, and you stopped.
The tree was the same.
He stopped the mics and everything. He was hearing his sermon.
I was hearing everything.
From he had a Sacramento under the tree, and so it was cut. So we apologize to viewers. We'll definitely touch on that topic next week. We'll definitely bring in Kofi. Kofi, you promised to be here next week. Kotin, you promised to be here next week.
God's willing.
Amen. So definitely, but yes, yeah, we have our panel. But back in maybe a few last minutes before we take some closing videos. I was going through my computer to see the number of task force. Yes.
You can't count them.
Operation Vanguard.
There's always a thing.
Blue Army.
Blue Army.
Something must happen.
There has been the Eastern Regional Task Force, Western. Recently, there is the Gold Board Task Force.
Yes, the Gold Board Task Force deals separately with something.
No, but
it's linked to them.
What is the Honorable Kofi?
We have a special unit.
There's one of these.
That's the waterfront something.
There's a specialized unit that has been with a unified command center.
In 2024, so I think President Kufuor set up an ad hoc ministerial committee, 5-member committee to fight this.
Yes.
It's a door breaker, door locker situation. You have to understand.
That's my worry. Where we have a penchant as Ghanaians to, when there's problem, in that moment, we form ad hoc, we go about it. 15th, they'll be buried. We'll pick up the partisan politics again. People starting to do the linkages, why people are dying within a certain particular administration, doing all these things. And then it throws everything away into the background.
That is why all of us sitting here have called for leadership. That's why I have specifically called out for Parliament and the leadership of Parliament to take the lead.
The narrative has to be
different. The narrative has to be different.
But who leads that cause?
That's why we have Parliament, and that's why we have leadership. You should understand. We must be able to do things differently. You can't just put everything on the executive. The president alone cannot fight this fight.
And I took on the judiciary here.
You understand? We need to have Parliament call in Parliament because of this monumental issue. Parliament come in and hold an emergency sitting, get legislation in memory of what has happened. That is bipartisan. You understand? And that goes, when it's bipartisan, it has the buy-in of everybody. And that goes to enable the executive use that legislation to fight this menace.
But Kofi, you said that you took on the judiciary. Yes, the four arms. What about we the people? It's the general public that, for want of a better term, say, incite the kind of things we get our leaders chasing after. And that's where earlier I came to Kofi. if we, the people out there, are not crying and forcing, because we're saying that the Parliament should call.
I beg to differ.
If Parliament doesn't call, who forces Parliament to call for this?
You know, I think in my narrative, I stated that every person should put pressure on their legislator. I mean, I said that here. So invariably, what, and I must admit here that right now, with what has happened, there's certainly the buying of the general population. If they should see you arrest high officials, they will understand you.
You believe so?
Yeah. Trust me.
Because we are on various WhatsApp platforms, and we see the conversations going on. The politics has already started.
The WhatsApp calls are not it, and the WhatsApp platforms are not government. Let me almost tell you that President Dramani Mahama today, if he should arrest, excuse me to say, IGP, people agree. People accept it.
Yes.
Because of the happenstance.
That I agree.
Now, my key point is that, listen, in all of this, he's right about legislative, but the judges, should I report somebody and take them to court as an individual, what judgment will be given? Would it be mad or impaired by money's changing hand? And let me be very blunt about it.
Everything forever.
People are taking on energy companies, and at the end of the day, listen, let me just say here, EPA is 50 amounts that EPA cannot pay. I mean, you know, you've pushed me to say this here, but EPA is not strong because they don't have that kind of money to pay high-profile lawyers, to even import brains, Ghanaians who are environmentalists, to come in than a prosecutor or lawyers trying to prosecute an energy-related company for crimes against us in this country in terms of our environment, and then you have a judge clothed with the authority to make judgment for the country in the interest of the people, the ordinary people who Kapito is always fighting for. And then the judge comes and gives a verdict or a summary judgment that is clearly out of line and has no basis
in law.
In common thinking. Let me not even say in law. The law certainly, as you know, should be just common thinking. And for that reason, some people will not be encouraged to even take on officials. I mean, if I know that I can take on the IGP to court as a consumer and win the case single-handedly because the laws of the country are working and that the judiciary or the jury will not be influenced, I will do it. So,
gentlemen, I have 5 minutes. I'm going across the table. This is...
In fact,
no, this is for just 30 seconds for you to speak to the family of the 8 people. So this is not to address any issue. Just 30 seconds, look into the camera and speak to the family of the 8.
In fact, may God console you, especially the wives, the children, and more especially Umani Buame's mother. He's the only child of the woman. And in our African tradition, you give birth to your child to come and take care of you and send you off. Here's the case. She has struggled to bring you up and is sending you off before her time. May God console you, mommy. And may God give them a good resting place, especially the soldier whose child is just a month or is it 3 months old. And to the family of squadron leader Anyaa, he has gone through a lot. In the space of a few months, he had to travel to the US to bury the elder sister.
And brother.
And some few weeks later, he has to go back for the brother's funeral. And he came back to find all the space on this earth to comfort the family on this grave.
Doc,
is never an experience anybody can wish on anybody. It's a very painful thing, and in fact, I was finding it very difficult to even come here for this program, but I felt that in the spirit of Mutala and the fact that he was a communicator, par excellent, I had to come to show some respect to him. And I must say that it is painful for all of us as Ghanaians. And we've lost, in the words of Brian Champon, very experienced people. And it's a very painful thing. I'm hit. And may this be a springing board for Ghana to tackle Galamsey in its full extent. And their names will never be forgotten. Their names will never be forgotten.
The good Lord should find it right that all the sins that they've committed on this earth should be given so that they'll have a pathway easily to the gates of heaven. My good brothers, may the Lord be with you until we meet again.
Well, I wish the families the very best. It's a difficult period. The whole nation is united in grief. We cannot put ourselves in your shoes, but we can share your pain, and we can pray and ask God to give you peace and rest to your beloved ones. It's a sad time for Ghana. We hope to come out of this a better country.
Viewers, we have live scenes from the Jubilee House. We understand the government chair is there. So as you can see on your screens, that's the traditional overlord of and the custodian of the land there to lay their wreath and also pay homage. It's a difficult moment for us all. I mean, if you have been following this show for the past few weeks, this is normally not the mood, but today you could see the difficulty all of us are taking in expressing our views on issues. We pray that this does not just become a momentary thing for us, but it would every day be in our conscience as people, remembering children who have been denied of their fathers, wives who have been denied of their husbands, mothers who have been denied of their children. In the case of Omane, her only child, and what they are going to go through every day. And that should spur us on as a nation to understand that life is nothing but just a passing there. Today you are here, tomorrow you are not. And that should let us know and understand that all the things that we are fighting over as political parties, as people in authority, the whole idea of governance is to make the lives of the people better. And if in doing that, we end up hating and killing each other, we end up exploiting each other, to what end does this bring us? As we conclude this program, our thoughts and our prayers are with the family of this gallant man. Our thoughts and our prayers is with the president, the vice president, the family, the entire government, the National Democratic Congress Party, and the entire nation, Ghana, as a whole. We know it's a difficult time for every one of us, but more for you. We know at night, for the wives, when you lay to sleep, when everywhere else is quiet, you would feel the absence of your partners the more. We know as parents, when you wake up in the morning, that call that would have come to check on you might not come, and it will remind you more of what you have lost. All we can ask for is the hand of our Maker to always be with you. And for the entire nation, let this be a moment that reminds us of who we are as a people. We are first human beings, second Ghanaians, third family men before we are our members of our political parties. If the first two does not mean anything to you, at least the third, which means you're a family person, which is the family person, should mean a lot to you. You might be thinking of your economic benefits, and so you are destroying water bodies. You might be thinking of what you want to gain, how well you want to be celebrated in society. And like Kofi said, to you it might be how much you want to donate during a church event, during a harvest. So you do not care what you destroy or who you kill. You might be using mercury or cyanide, and you don't care. It might not just be galamsey, it might even be how you are fishing, what chemicals you are using to bring. All you're concerned about is the profit that you make. But the good book teaches us, what shall it profit a man if you gain everything? And as we sit here today, we have lost treasures, resources. The grave is richer now because what has been gone untapped is more than what has been tapped. Let's leave the conversations with you at home, because somebody next to you is the one polluting the water. Somebody watching us is the one polluting the water. We smile and walk together, but deep behind the scenes, you and I contributed to the death of this 8. May God continue to guide us and abide with us. And may our conscience continue to be the map that navigates us in the walk of life. God bless you. If you have not been able to go share a moment at the Jubilee House and you have the time, please do so. This evening, I understand at the State House there's going to be a vigil for them. Let's all pass through. And now we'll end of your weekend and see you next week.
For people like you.